Hello and welcome to OVW No Holds Barred, the new show going behind the scenes on all things OVW. So today my co-host Kian is away, he's wrestling this evening, but the show must go on and I'm delighted to be joined by the Queen of the North, a 6'1" powerhouse who's walked away from a teaching career in Alaska to chase the dream, perfect, from the classroom to the canvas. She's built herself into one of OVW's most commanding performers. She is Freya the Slaya. Freya, how's it going?
Great. How are you?
I'm really good, and I appreciate you making the time. Thank you very much for doing that.
Yes, of course.
So I guess the first place to start for anybody who's introduced to you for the first time today, maybe if you could just tell us a little bit about who Freya the Slayer is, the character and the person behind the character as well.
Yes. So recently I've transitioned away from the Queen of the North. That was the name that I went by when I very first started wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
So lately I've been going by the Arctic Amazon. So
Ah,
similar but different in that more aggressive, more anyone can get it kind of persona,
sure.
Like before I feel like it was more family friendly, more collaborative, and now it's screw everybody and anyone who gets in my way, good luck.
Yeah, I saw a recent match of yours, and I think it's unhinged fair.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I could see
you
that.
cleaned house and then you
Mhm.
jumped on the mic and yeah, it was clear, like you say. You are pretty much to hell with everybody now. It's
Mhm.
focus on
Yes.
it's you seem like really driven and everything like that. So yeah, you say now it's the Arctic Amazon. I'm guessing that's
Yes.
because of Alaska. That comes
Yes,
into it.
exactly. Yeah,
So
I'm the only female wrestler from Alaska.
oh wow. Oh wow.
Yep.
Okay, so that's really interesting because it must have been difficult more so than it is for most. It's already very difficult to get started, right? So you must have had a real passion for it early.
Yes, there really, when I started, were not very many wrestlers in Alaska, period. Maybe 10, 11.
Wow.
And the closest ring to me was 11 hour, or not 11, excuse me. It was 6 hours away from me.
That's
And
wild.
so I did that for a bit, but after a while I realized, this really isn't feasible. If I want to take wrestling seriously, I need to move. And that's why I quit teaching and went to Vegas and then trained there for a few years and then found my way to OVW where I've been since.
Amazing. So that journey must have been kind of scary. That's a huge leap to take. What parts of it were sort of, was it a scary journey when you said, I'm going to do wrestling full, I'm going to make this my life? Or was it surprisingly easy for you?
It was definitely scary because the timing was wild. I put in like my notice, like I was a tenured teacher, like I'd been doing it for quite a few years. And
Mm.
so I put in my notice that I was resigning, and then less than a month later, COVID happened.
Oh
And I
no.
was like, "Oh, wow, what horrible timing," right? So I was like, now what?" Like,
Yeah.
now I'm stuck at home doing nothing. That was not the best choice, but honestly, it all worked out really well still despite that. But right when I realized that COVID was going to be a serious thing, it was like, "Oh man,
Yeah,
that
no,
was
no.
dumb."
I did the exact same thing. Weirdly, I decided to become a full-time stand-up comedian in February 2020, and
Mhm.
then I saw
Yes.
all the shows just disappear straight away. I was like contacting the old job, like I'm back. If you still need me.
That's
And
funny.
yeah, what a time to make a go of it. But
That's the
uh,
exact timeline. It was February 2020 when I
was it?
signed in the
Oh, we
paperwork.
have more in common than I thought then, because that
Yes.
was so intense. That was quite a scary period. I felt.
Yeah, for sure.
And it felt like that was the first time I'd really took a huge gamble on myself. And now, but like you say, it's weird because I feel like things just sort of work out if you do bet on yourself. And now you're there, you're in OVW, and that must be such an amazing place to learn as well as everything else. Has that changed your outlook on wrestling at all, or has that sort of helped you grow quicker than you were doing before?
Oh, I would say yes to both of those things. The reason I ended up at OVW is it's the only independent company where you can do live television every week.
Hmm,
Like, there's no other company like OVW, You've got, of course, you have NWA and Reality of Wrestling and GCW. You have these other great independent companies, but they don't do weekly live television.
sure.
That's such a different beast altogether with, we're working on a tight 2-hour show and, all the different cameras, like having to catch things. There's no editing things in post. Like what you
Right.
get's what you get. And so that's absolutely why I ended up at OVW. And I have to credit, where I am now in wrestling to being here in Louisville and doing that every week. I mean, when we filmed Netflix, we wrestled 4 or 5 times a week for months, for almost half a year, and so, I mean, not many people can get that many reps anywhere. Like, Al was saying that was kind of like what they used to do, the old WWF schedule or, ECW, and he said, "This is where you're really gonna learn how to wrestle because 'cause you're traveling, you're on the road, and you're wrestling a lot of the same people," and so none of that would have happened without OVW.
Sure, 100%. And something else as well about that. Obviously, it's great for learning to wrestle, but something that I've noticed through meeting people and speaking to people in OVW through this podcast, you're really sort of forced to think about the character on a level that's deeper than a lot of other promotions. Like everybody has such a strong character, and it really does seem to be a factor. And is that something that Al's doing himself? Is that something he's instilling, the importance of having that solid gimmick, that solid persona, as well as the wrestling ability?
Yes, that's definitely if I was gonna quote Al, one of the biggest things he always tells us is be a star. Like he doesn't normally care about what moves you're doing, right? It's what
Mm,
you're portraying, what you're getting across. And especially that summer, it's how can you portray all that without beating yourself up too bad? Because you
sure.
have to go and do this tomorrow and the next day and the next day, So if you're going and, trying to have these wild matches every night, you're just not gonna hold up. And so, can you keep the crowd invested? Can you entertain without, some of those bells and whistles that other people maybe rely on with their moves and less of their persona?
Right. Yeah, for sure. So how long were you wrestling before you actually arrived in OVW?
I wrestled in Alaska off and on for 2 years, if you
Hmm.
call it wrestling. I
Sure.
mean, it's just like once you're really wrestling, you're like, "Oh, we didn't know what we were doing at all."
Mm.
And then I was in Vegas off and on for 2 years, so about 4 years.
Okay, cool. Because then my question was really about the difference between that and OVW. You know, you talk about the TV and the difference that obviously it forces you to think about it in a different way. But I was just thinking, could we get a bit specific about some of those differences? Like, is there such as, do you have to think of where the main camera is at all times? Is that taught to you and things like that, really? The things that are OVW specific in your training?
Yeah, and I mean, not just OVW specific, it's if you wanna go to a bigger company, if you wanted to get signed to AEW or WWE, this is everything you need to know for them too. And I think other companies teach it, but there's not the same reliance on it, not the same way because a lot of the shows are edited and then go out. And,
Mhm.
so yeah, no, our time is really crucial, right? We have 2 hours, so you have to stick to your time. So you have to know your match has to end, right? We do
Yeah,
an hour and then an hour. So if you're the main event, you can't go over or under on your time. You have to exactly hit 30 seconds before the show switches to the next show.
I
And
get.
so that, I think a lot of places, even if they do film their show live, you could go a little over or under. No, we absolutely can't. And having commercial breaks in between our matches, in the middle of your match, I've noticed a lot of people who come in who've wrestled a lot, who've maybe had more years of experience than me, hadn't really dealt with wrestling through a commercial break.
Right. Yeah, of course. That's
And so
interesting.
but I mean, we're live still on YouTube, but like for our TV, so you still have to be entertaining, but nothing too important can happen during that commercial break because a lot of your audience will miss it, and then you want to come up with action and go down with action. That's, you know what I mean? Alice says you want people, if they just tune in, you want them to be like, oh wow, to
Yeah,
something to
sure.
grab them. And so that is stuff that I've really not heard anyone outside of OVW talk about other than, those larger companies.
That's so cool. I think that's a big point. in this podcast as well, is to think of things like that. Like I remember being a kid and always thinking when they come back from a break, it's always the faces in a hold and they're always fighting to like, like
Mhm.
get the crowd on side. And that's it. It's keeping the crowd invested. But like you say, nothing pivotal to the story goes down in that time frame, right? And it's really
Yes.
distracting because it does happen very rarely, but you do sort of see, oh, we must have missed something in the break because,
Mhm.
and it takes you out of the story a little bit. So I completely get where
Yes.
you're coming from.
And then coming up with unique ways. That's funny you said that the baby face is always in a hold.
Right.
So then, like, a lot of times during break, our go-to would be, bump to the floor so you can
Sure.
sell down, you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, "Don't everyone's doing that. Don't come up with something different. Can't you be creative? Like,
Yeah.
use your brain. Don't just do the same thing because if everyone does that, then it's expected, it's not interesting anymore." So, like, yes, taking those tried and true things, but then having to put your own spin on it and, making sure no one on the show is doing the same stuff as you.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And I think Al's such a great brain to have around, right, for things like
Oh,
that. He's
absolutely.
so savvy when it comes to things like that. So in terms of
Mhm.
your OVW career so far, is there a favorite match or favorite program that stands out to you up to now, and why as well?
Ugh, I've had so many that I've really enjoyed. I don't It's hard for me just to pick a one favorite of anything. I
Hmm.
think most recently with my shifting character, I had a really fun match with Sophia Rose.
Right.
That was at the beginning of the summer. That was a really fun show. But I also really loved the program I had with Layla Gray. That was really fun because we wrestled first as me the heel, her the face, and then vice versa. So that
Ah,
was
okay.
really exciting. I
Hmm.
thought we had good chemistry, and lately I've been really loving wrestling J-Rod. It's not often you get to wrestle someone your size, who's also been wrestling for a really long time, and it's funny, like, companies pair us together all over the United States. Like,
Yeah.
we've wrestled, we joke around if we're on a show, we're like, "Oh, you wanna do Tennessee or you wanna do California?" What
Ah, right.
We've
Sure.
never actually redone the same match, but just like a joke. Like, we've wrestled so many times, we
Mhm.
probably could not call anything and know what each other's are gonna do. Like, yeah.
Yeah. That's a great place to be in, isn't it? When you've got people like that who you can work with without even having to think about it. Actually, on the topic of Al, we were talking to him about some of his favorite guys, and he mentioned guys like Regal and who else was it? Oh, it's the name escapes me, but people who, when you get in the ring with them, you don't have to think about it because you just know them so well. And
Mhm.
yeah, that must be pretty amazing, I bet.
It
Um,
is fun, and then her and I wrestled last weekend in Nashville, and it was a triple threat with a girl I'd never worked before, and it was kind of like it was fun because her and I have wrestled so many times that we have, like, a similar mind for what we like, and so putting in that 3rd person was fun. We got to, like, kinda switch up, like, the stuff we normally do and
yeah,
put spins on it so that no, it's really fun. It's fun to wrestle new people, but it's also fun to wrestle someone that you've got really great chemistry with.
amazing. Yeah, for sure. So when you change up and you go from face to heel and you wrestle somebody again, is it like wrestling them for the first time again in a sense because you have to change the character, or is it still as familiar?
It's still familiar. It's just I would say the difference is more how you're responding to them. You know what I mean? It's like you could still do the exact same match with the same moves. It's just what your intention behind them is and how you react to certain things, right? That's going
Yeah,
to
I see.
betray that more.
Is it am I just tell me if I'm wrong, I'm thinking by that, do you mean, let's say you're a heel, are you thinking, "Let me slow down the pace of this match instead now, and, let me sort of, like, just soak in the moment a little bit more. If I hit you with a clothesline, let me just stand there and say, 'Yeah, this is that the kind of, thing you mean?'"
It could be that, but it could also be like if you're a babyface, you're taught never to back down from someone,
Oh,
right?
okay.
If you're a heel, you can go anyway. You can, cower away, stuff like that. How you would react to feeling frustration, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Stuff like that. So it could even be slowing down, but really, like, a babyface will do anything to win, but a heel will really do anything to win, you know what I mean?
For
So,
sure.
like, even if I do the same move, if I'm a heel, I'm probably gonna do it dirtier. Like, I might grab you still and put you in a headlock, but maybe I'll grab you by your hair or by your gear, you know what I mean? Little
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah, of course. That's really interesting. So, now that you've sort of played 2 versions of, the character, you've got the face and the heel, which one feels more natural to you, or which one, and in fact, on that note, sorry to throw questions in the mix, but, what inspired the change? Was it your idea?
The change was absolutely my idea. I'd been at OVW for so long, I've been there for over 4 years now. And so it's easy just to get reliant on doing the same things and being the same version of yourself. But I mean, if I'm feeling stale with it, I'm sure the fans are feeling stale. And so you've got to come up with some different stuff, right? You've got to
Hmm.
change it up, refresh, repackage yourself. I think some of the best wrestlers in the world and in history have done that. Like, look at Mick Foley, right? You
Hmm.
could look at Gold Dust, Dustin Rhodes. Like, so many people have done all these different versions of themselves, and that's why they were relevant for so long. And so, I felt like, okay, I've been the Queen of the North literally since I started wrestling. I need to do something different. Um, and for me, uh, even in this new character, it's kind of fun being a heel. For me, I don't know, being a heel's it's really fun when I'm having a bad day, just to piss people off.
Yeah, sure. That makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
But in general, I think it's probably easier for me to be a heel, but maybe more fun to be a babyface.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. Yeah, I think a lot of people say a similar thing, like they really enjoy being a heel sometimes. And I get it. I get it. Like, I remember I was doing commentary one time in Poland and it was Mason Mansoor had just come out of WWE and they cut this promo for like 10 minutes and it was just like bashing everybody there, this like individuals in the crowd and stuff like that in 10 minutes, but it was so much fun. And then like the crowd loved it. Like it was probably the highlight of the show, this wild promo
Yeah.
that was just everybody hating. And yeah, afterwards I spoke to the guys and they just said it was like the most fun they've had in a long time. Just throwing it out there. So yeah, definitely something that comes up quite a lot. So
Mhm.
one thing I'm guessing that doesn't change is your day of a show, like the routine um behind the show, and it's really cool on this podcast that we are able to get like a level of insight into sort of like the behind the scenes of working. So, what would a typical day be for you if you have a show?
Alright, so call time is at 4, so we all get to the building. Normally, you try to figure out who you're working and where you are on the card.
Right.
How quick do I need to get in gear? Do you have any promos or interviews or anything you need to film in advance? That means you need to get ready even sooner.
Hmm.
Figure out who your agent is. That's who's Al's spoken to, who's in charge of your match, and then either talk to them or Al to figure out the business of what they're trying to portray. So, like, not just who's going over, but like how do you want the audience to come away from this match feeling? What do you want them to take away? What are we building to?
When you, I've never thought about this side of it before. When you speak with an agent, how collaborative is that process? Is that are they basically telling you what's going to happen, or is it something that you build together?
No, you definitely build it together. A lot of times they don't even build it. Very rarely, I feel like, does Al have a very, very specific finish that he wants.
Mm.
Normally, it's like I said, like I want this person to go over clean. I want, or no finish. I need this. It's more like the emotion behind it is what he cares about, less the specific moves. Maybe in all 4 years that I've been at OVW, maybe 3 times he's had a direct, "I want you to do XYZ for me." Very
Hmm.
rarely. And normally you can work with your agent. If you don't have ideas, they can help you collaborate on them. But sometimes they'll just be like, "You guys go talk and then come let me know what you're thinking." And then they go over it. Cool. Yes. No. All right. No, change that part. Okay. And then you kind of build, a rough sketch. But I mean, in wrestling, you really can't count for anything. So then you have to talk to your referee and then your agent and then explain what kind of times you want on your match, right? Like, I want this kind of go home. I need to know this. I want to know a 30-second. I want to know every this minute. Oh, so yeah, it's all pretty specific, more than people I think would think.
For sure, yeah, because I think of it when I found some similarities basically between doing comedy and speaking to wrestlers, and that's around listening to the crowd and sort of responding to what they want. And I wonder to what extent you can actually do that, honestly. If you have these specific, it's so great to have, like you say, the OVW TV to train you and everything like that. but let's say if the crowd are really into something and maybe they're going one more time for something like that, how much wiggle room do you have to
You
sort of
have a lot
take?
of wiggle room in that. You really do have to listen to the crowd
Yeah,
because if they're bored, you know what I mean? If they're sitting on their hands, it's not gonna work. So,
right.
I mean, Al says a lot, like, "Don't be so focused on what you had planned that you can't improv and change it." Because sometimes, like, with timing, it's not working or a botch happens or someone's not out on time, you know what I mean? You always have to be kind of able to work on the fly. And a lot of places I think don't still teach that quite as much as OVW does,
Mm,
but, that's like a big thing. You have to be able to just figure it out when you're out there.
for sure. So, in terms of the locker room at OVW now, a lot of talent, a lot of women who really primed to do great things, and I think it's kind of amazing that they've got so many different people who are really able to go to that next level. So I was wondering, in terms of your ambition, where you want to be maybe in 12 months and 5 years, even like what the goals are for yourself.
Honestly, I'm not even sure. I know that's kind of a cop out
No,
answer,
I get it. I get
but
it.
I never thought I would still be in wrestling and get this far in wrestling when I started. It just kind of seemed like something that I really loved, but maybe would be a hobby for a little bit. So then, you know what I mean? I had all these small goals and then I kept knocking them out, knocking them out, knocking them out. And it was like, dang, okay. But my biggest goal, I guess, is to find a way to be able to stay in wrestling or do something wrestling adjacent, that's really financially that makes sense. I don't think I could go back to a shoot job now. It would be really hard for me to have, like, an hourly type of job,
I get
like
it.
a normal
Yeah.
with wrestling, everything is so all over the place, and I think I'm very suited to that. So, it would be very hard for me to go back to, like, sitting at a desk or, that, would be
No, I
not
get
for
it. I get it.
me.
Having been backstage at shows, there's a level of like camaraderie, like there's a group feel to it that you just don't get anywhere else, where everybody's really like sort of with each other, fighting for each other, and it's a unique thing. It's hard to explain. What would you say then, if your goal was to be uh just involved in wrestling in some way or other, what would you say your favorite thing is about just working in wrestling overall?
See, and I don't actually know if I don't know if I could ever just work backstage and not be in wrestling. Because my favorite part of wrestling is the adrenaline rush of walking through the curtain, and you could have the best laid plans, but those can all go to shit. Like, you have
Right.
to figure it out. You can't just be like, "Well, never mind, I'll try again, do over." No, I love that feeling, that, like, pressure where it's like, it's on. You have to go do it. And, it doesn't matter, you can't make an excuse if something screws up, you have to be able to fix it. I love that feeling. That's like that adrenaline rush, that pressure is my favorite, favorite part of wrestling. And then just interacting with the crowd, getting booed or getting cheered, it's like I don't know how crass you want me to be, but
Oh, go for it.
it's it's like you're, like, masturbating their emotions, right? There's, like, a
Right.
huge connection between stripping and wrestling, right? You're making them believe this fantasy that they forget that this isn't real, right? That so when you're really good at it, you're like, "I got you," you know? You're so mad at me, and I am just fucking around, like, I don't mean any of this, what I'm saying, but I got you to believe it, or I got you to cheer for me. You know what I mean? It's like you feel like a puppet master that you can, play with things and see all of that. I love all of that. So it'd be really hard for me to do something in wrestling where I didn't get that feeling. I think I would have more fun. Like, I've done a little bit of acting on the side. That's
Mhm.
fun. But I don't know. Maybe I'm a little bit of an adrenaline junkie. Just,
I get it. No, honestly, so one thing I do at the minute is I do the announcing for a football team in the UK, and there's like sometimes there'll be 15,000, sometimes 20,000 in the crowd and whatever. And there's a moment where you have a moment, and it's up to you. It could either all go wrong or it could go right, and it's just like nothing else can matter in that moment. So if you've got problems at home or anything like that, or nothing else counts. It's like this is go time, and there's something that is hard to I can't get that anywhere else. So I know what you're saying in a way. It's like it's a very unique, special thing, I think that's the joy of it for the crowd as well with wrestling. It's like it's so in the moment, and so uh, like you're how would I word it? Like you are. connected to the crowd in such a unique way that doesn't really exist in even in a sport or anything like that, from what I've heard.
No, no, it's a play, but like with real life consequences. Like people love to talk about how wrestling is fake or fixed, but just because I tell you I'm going to kick you in the face, it really doesn't feel any better. And I've definitely been putting a match together and agreed to do something. Normally it's my idea, the stupid idea. And then you're getting ready to go out and you're like, why the fuck did I just agree to do that? That's going to hurt and could really go wrong. Like, huh, oh well, too late now. Now we're doing
Right.
it. And
Yeah,
then I've really rarely had something go wrong. But it's just like that feeling, like you can't really get that anywhere else. And I think that is part of what the fans love, right? It's like real life consequences, real life stuff. Even if the outcome is pre-planned, you can't pre-plan everything.
for sure. Do you think because it's so sort of all these emotions come into it? Obviously, there's danger, there's excitement, there's all these things. Do you think it bonds people together quite closely backstage, as in the people you work with, or is it sort of or are you more individual as performers, if that makes sense? Do you consider yourselves like a group or individuals?
Ooh, it's definitely both. Like you have to trust the people you're wrestling with because your
Hmm.
life is literally in each other's hands, right? But you're also competing with everyone. So, I mean, I think yes, wrestlers are all very connected because you've all felt the same thing. You've gone through the same thing, right? So there is definitely that camaraderie. But
Sure.
also, I want TB time. I want your TB time. I want to be out there more than you. You know what I mean? So that
Yeah,
there's a
definitely.
little bit of both. Like I want you to do good, but not better than me.
Right, yeah, no, for sure. I speak to people who play football professionally, and they say the same thing. It's like if they sign a new player who plays in their position, not good. You need
Mhm.
to get rid of them, and it's interesting to hear about. So, who would you say in the OVW locker room now is probably the person you love working with more than anybody else?
Probably J-Rod.
J-Rod, yeah, because it's so
Yeah.
familiar.
Yeah, yeah, and I think we have good chemistry. I think we work well with her as the face and me the heel and vice versa. We had only worked with her as the heel and me as the face, and then we got a chance to switch it up. That was fun. Like, yeah, no, I think he's and we have like similar thoughts of things. Like when we're putting together matches, it's very effortless. Like our ideas flow together. You know what I mean? There's not
For
a
sure.
lot of like sometimes people are like, "Oh no, I don't want to do that. I will do this." And I didn't even realize I've definitely when we started wrestling, she hadn't been wrestling quite as long, but I would suggest things and she's like, "I don't know if we can do that." And I'm like, "We could definitely do it. We don't even need to practice it. Like we don't have time. We could do it. It's not that hard." And she was like scared to do it and then it went totally fine. And then I kept upping the stuff. Like I don't know if you saw the clip of her and I crashing through a door together.
No, no, I'll check this out. I'll find it. I'll put it in the
Oh
links as
yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah. So it's like in a match couple months ago, we like climbed to the top rope and I'm trying to choke slam her through the door. She's trying to slam me through the door. And then she headbutts me and we crash through the door together
Oh
for
no,
the match to end with like a, DQ.
yeah.
And or yeah, we're both double DQ, excuse me. But I didn't realize till the ref told me after how scared she was to do that. And it was definitely my crazy idea. I was like, "Oh, we can do it." And I was ready to do it to the floor. And then they're like, "Oh, there's not enough room for with fans and stuff." And I didn't realize she was worried. But I was like, I was sure it was going to be fine, and then it totally was.
I hear you. Yeah, no, that's amazing. Okay, so I know that we're running out of time, which is a shame because it's been really interesting, and it would be cool to speak again and go into more
Hmm.
detail on some of this stuff.
Yeah, of course.
But I guess one thing, because we're talking about like I could understand if you're a newer wrestler and you're coming up against somebody who is maybe more of a veteran, you might be a little bit worried about how things are going to go, and maybe you've never even you just thought about wrestling and you've never done it. Now, if you came up to somebody who hasn't yet wrestled but they know they want to do it, what's the one piece of advice that you've received that you think is the one that's the strongest, the one that you'd always take with you?
Oh, I think the biggest thing, just like before you train, pick somewhere to train that's a reputable, good school. Like, don't give your money to some joker who never really did it. You know what I mean? Find someone
Hmm.
who doesn't just want your money, who's actually going to train you properly, and has done and been places you want to go. I think so many people have training schools now who've never done anything, and
Yeah.
they're just taking people's money. So, first off, find somewhere, even if it's more expensive, find somewhere to train that is a good school.
So I'm guessing it's an obvious one, but no regrets. You traveled 11 hours, 6 hours, sorry. You traveled 6 hours to go out of Alaska to travel, to wrestle. And that was a good
Yeah.
move, right? That was
Well,
the
no, no,
good.
I was driving 6 hours within Alaska just to train at the only ring in the state.
Oh
Yeah.
no. Oh my God. Oh,
No,
okay.
no, no. I was
Whoa.
me when I no, I'm from the middle of nowhere. If
Right.
this is
Okay.
Alaska, I don't know if
Yeah.
you can kind of see. I'm from the dead center. The closest wrestling to ring to me was way down here. That's a 6-hour
Jeez.
drive through the mountains, 2 lanes.
This is
Like,
wild.
no, no. That's but also it was just people training each other. That's honestly why I feel that way. Is like those were great guys, but they all are still in Alaska.
You
I needed to branch out and go like to train with people who've been in WWE, who've wrestled on television.
That's amazing. Yeah,
So,
that's really good advice as well, honestly, like because I think it would be easy for somebody to get tripped up in those early stages by somebody who claims they know it all. There's a lot of people out there like that, right?
yeah, and it's convenient, right? I could have stayed and trained in Alaska, which I did with the guys, and then there's a school there, and it's a great school,
Yeah,
and if you're not able to leave Alaska, it's a wonderful, you know what I mean? If that's the best you can do, cool. But if you can go train, with someone who's done it, like you should absolutely do that.
that's amazing. It's been really cool. I appreciate you making the time as well, like I say. But yeah, the level of insight here has been awesome. So thank you very much for
Yes.
that. This is cool.
Yes, and then if you wanna talk again, we're having a very exciting match on Thursday. I don't know when this will air, but
Yeah,
Thursday, Hell Night will be a very fun one with the match stipulations on a wheel. So
I
you'll
think.
find out what you're
Oh,
doing night of.
nice, nice. So I think this will go out in 2 weeks. So that will have
Oh,
happened, and we'll
well, it
figure
will
out.
have happened. So
Yeah,
we'll see if I still have the women's title and how worse for wear I am.
yeah, fingers crossed you pull through. I think you will somehow. But yeah, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. And thank you everyone for
Yes.
checking this episode out as well. Wherever you're checking it out, if you could like, subscribe, leave a kind review, would appreciate that. We will be back every 2 weeks with another episode. So thank you very much for checking out OVW No Holds Barred.